Can I do my robot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard something.
Oh.
How about now? Okay, good.
Okay, I think we're getting there.
Okay, so the fun thing is that when you add extra technology to the live stream, it's too loud.
Now it's too loud. Okay.
For me, no, just it's fine. Leave it. Just gonna, I can hear it through the headphones. Okay, you can hear us. That's great. Hello. Let's start again.
Let's start again. Hi.
Hi.
My name is Konstantin. Here's Becky. Welcome to Grey's Westminster Friday live stream.
Highly stressful live stream. So what happens is when we add
New
things and then try and make them work with our existing ecosystem, stuff stops working.
The funny thing is, we've set everything up, and thanks Robin for helping us. And I'm looking at the Atom Mini software right now, and it just reset all the audio settings. It just went straight to default settings.
Yeah, which we spent the entire morning working on.
Exactly. My head hurts right now. So hopefully you can hear us okay.
Yeah, some people are saying it's a bit quiet, but there's literally nothing I can do about it. So just...
I mean, I can make it louder.
No, please don't.
But I don't want to blow up your speakers as well.
It was already loud enough on our headphones. I don't want you to make it louder.
Yeah, okay, let's just quickly... let's let me do this. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, Becky. Look, we just going to push it up a little bit.
Okay.
That's it.
That's quite a lot.
If it's a lot, just do let us know.
Okay, and there's a slight latency, which comes from the fact that all our settings have been lost. But never mind. How are you doing? How are you today?
How was your week?
How has your week been? It's a Friday. I'm very grateful that it's a Friday.
Exactly.
We're going to try and make through an hour of this. Yeah, Seth said add 6 frames. It's true, you have to add
it's
6
5 frames. It's reset it, so I'm going to set a delay to 5. I am a master now of setting up Atom Mini from scratch.
There we go.
Because I've done it several times now.
You have to close the thing. Yeah. So we're going to talk about secondhand gems today. Yeah. We've actually got some lovely bits and pieces in our secondhand department, some things that I was having a little look downstairs and I was going, oh, that's quite nice.
That's right. And you all probably have fatigue now hearing about Z30 and Z400 new lens. So we decided let's not talk about this today.
Yeah.
Just think about nice
other things.
Nikon things,
yes.
But different from that lineup.
That's right. There are other cameras in the world aside from the new stuff. John's very happy. He said it's an awesome week. My 800mm arrived. Yay! That's great, John. And apparently, yes, I do sound better than last week. I am all healed up. Thank you very much for those of you that sent me a little email.
Yeah, I sent you some energy.
You sent me some good vibes.
Some good vibes.
Healing vibes. So it's a nice coffee day today. It's about 28 degrees in London. It's very hot. We're all a bit frazzled. Thank you to Jeremy for your contribution to the Coffee Fund. Thank you massively to Studio Renee for your contribution to the Coffee Fund.
Thank you.
And Adrian.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you very, very much. Anthony asks if there are any cheap F6s going. Well, we do have some F6s. In fact, I think that's one of the things you picked.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So we basically went downstairs separately and just picked up a couple of bits and pieces. To be honest, I wish that I could just brought the whole secondhand department up with me, but I couldn't, so never mind.
Yeah, we had an idea to maybe film with a gimbal downstairs from secondhand, but then we don't have the wireless mics with us today.
Nope, so that's...
And then we also want to test the Atom Mini, which reset everything,
so,
as you heard before.
Yes, hurts. It hurts. Seth said, I know the pain of live stream troubleshooting all too well. Had a legit meltdown last Saturday. Yeah. Like everything, everything melted down on him.
But thanks to Robin today, I now understand EQ, equalization, much better. Still have no idea what I'm doing, but he kind of gave me the pointers, what low frequency is, what high frequency is. So hopefully once I have time to actually set it up and listen to direct output with my headphones, then I will be able to fine-tune our voices to perfection.
Oh, we'll see. Charles said it's okay, you can start now, I'm here.
Yeah, well, okay, thank you. We were waiting for you.
We actually didn't start without you, Charles. The first 10 minutes of the stream has just been a nightmare. So we're basically starting now.
And they say always the management is never late. So Charles, we won't start without you, clearly. So
that's right.
Jeffrey said that Con is out of control. It's just because Gray is not here and is not watching live stream. So I'm just starting.
You're just getting started. So first of all, I must remind everybody that you can buy
Behave yourself.
but you can buy from our secondhand department from anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in England.
We have a shop here. We sell things to you.
And you can have them shipped to you anywhere in the world. And the beautiful thing about that is you don't have to be in East London. You can be in the US or in Canada, in Australia, or somewhere in Europe.
Exactly. And it's not just supports the shop, it also supports the channel.
It does.
That's another way to think it.
It does support the channel, and it gives us a reason for getting up in the morning. So yes, anything that you like or that takes your fancy, please do browse our secondhand website. We've got a very busy colleague downstairs listing away, who then he lists everything first, and then as soon as he's got everything listed, he goes and takes pictures of it all, and it just gets put on the website, and it's all beautiful. So
yes, we got some digital cameras in today.
We did get some digital cameras that have just been freshly cleaned. Now, I picked up a couple of unusual items. I'm going to go with the film stuff first.
Yes.
Because I looked and I thought, oh, sorry, Seth is just going out. He's going. Well,
casually to hang out with Joe McNally, just casually.
Casually hanging out
throwing
with
it
Joe.
in here, yeah. Our good friends.
That's right. Well, have fun, Seth. Give our love to Joe. We're a big friend of the shop is Joe McNally. So,
yes.
Yeah.
We normally see him at the end of the year because he comes to England to do the workshop. So we are looking forward to seeing him again this year.
Absolutely. Right. So my first item was actually an FM2.
Ooh.
This is actually an FM2D.
That's a demo.
Yeah.
Tell us about the demos. What's so special about them?
The only thing that's special about these, apart from the fact that they say D on the back of them here, is they were an early version of the FM2 that was sent to retailers to demonstrate. They are fully functioning and fully operational FM2s. This wasn't one of Gray's of Westminster's demo bodies, although we did have one at some point, but is one that someone purchased at some point from a retailer.
From KJP, perhaps? Remember that retailer back in the day?
Yeah, potentially.
I don't think I was even born.
No,
but Gray worked at KJP back in the day.
He did, yeah,
That's right.
He did. And I love the FM2. This was actually my first proper SLR film camera, the FM2, not the D version specifically, but there's something so lovely about the fact that it's a fully manual mechanical camera that has a meter in it if you need it, but functions without a battery, which takes all of Nikon's AI and AIS glass and also D lenses, if you've got the aperture ring. It shoots up to 4,000th of a second. Shutter speed.
I thought you get 4,000 frames per second.
4,000 frames per second, like really cutting edge technology.
Exactly.
No, but it's a beautiful camera. They're really beautifully made. They were actually brought out alongside the FEs and the FE2. So we had the FM and the FE. We're going to do a whole homage episode one of these days. And then you had the FE2 and the FM2. And the FM2s or the FM series, if you like, was supposed to be slightly cheaper than the FEs because the E's had some electronics in them.
Aperture priority.
These don't have anything as fancy as that, but they are beautifully made and, to be honest, much easier to get fixed if you need something done to them. We did a whole episode on buying secondhand equipment at one point, but just to kind of recap for anyone who missed that one, we've got a few new regulars these days, and we've got probably some people who haven't seen that one because I don't expect you all to have seen every single live stream, but we always look.
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
But
at least when I started first.
You expected everyone to watch every single one.
I'm going to interrupt you again the moment you're going to start to say.
So what we look for is things like the foams, whether or not they need replacing, the light seals in the back, whether or not they need replacing. I'm going to pop it open, one of these very skillfully.
The seals, because they're foam seals, they tend to perish with the time.
Yeah.
So normally if you touch it and it doesn't spring back, that means it needs to be replaced. The good news is the replacement is not very expensive. So if you've got some old film cameras, you can send it to a craftsman who can do that for you.
That's right. So the light seals in the back here, we always look out for, and you should too when buying something secondhand. Obviously making sure that it has the the eyepiece in place, that the body itself is not majorly worn or dinged. This is actually our lowest grading condition for a camera. This little one, it does have a ding. A ding.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I've seen much worse. So this
Yes.
is not that bad. And even if it's got a ding, it doesn't actually affect anything. There's no crack in a prism or anything like this. So actually, overall, I would say eBay would be mint plus plus plus. That would be similar to that condition.
That's it. I love how it's mint plus plus plus. Mint is like
And
a
then-
finite thing.
And then fungus.
Yeah.
Separation.
That's right. So C1 pointed out, hello C1, lovely to have you
Hi.
here, said aperture priority started with the Nikon EL in 1976, which is very, very true. We were just saying that FEs have aperture priority. Baxter says my FM2N has an MF16 and has a honeycomb shutter curtain. Yeah,
That's the early one.
it is. Now, Andy asked if we sell mirror foam for the F. We don't actually. This also has the honeycomb shutter. I don't think you
Yeah,
can.
you can try. Generally they would, if you call the workshops, they would generally say we can do that for you. I don't know if they sell. You can have a look at those on eBay. But foam replacements for something like with PJ repairs is about £40 to £50. So it's pjdirect.co.uk, I think, in UK. So you can send it to them. They're reasonably priced for UK.
Yeah. So we don't sell the parts, no, but you can get hold of them. Now, there are a few companies, not just PJs. There is Sendine Camera Repairs
Sendine in London.
There's a few around that do refoam these. And to be completely honest, there's not much point in stocking up on foam at this point because it's going to perish with time. So you just get the foams replaced. It's really easy to find the cut pieces online. It's not that difficult, and they're very, very easy to service. So that was my pick number one.
And I say if you have loads of cash burning in your pocket, then upgrade it to FM3A.
Yeah.
So that one will give you aperture priority and would be the best FM in the world. But I think FM2 sits right in the middle in terms of price and what you get for the camera.
Yeah.
So in terms of this, FM2, I would say will be the best value for money.
It's very lovely. So that was my pick number one. My second pick was actually a manual focus lens.
To go with FM2?
To go with FM2.
Okay.
I really struggled to choose which one to go for today because I was like, I love them all. And you really you've got to catch them all.
Exactly. And they're all suitable for flower photography.
Yeah, it's true. Although weirdly, I don't do that much flower photography with my film cameras. It's like
Yeah.
a little bit, but not really.
I know, you're saving film.
Yeah.
I see.
Is the mirror foam a DIY project? If you've got the right parts, you could probably do it. If you're feeling fairly confident, I'd get a good pair of plastic tweezers, but
Yeah, some pliers, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like for
it's
me,
not pliers. It's those little plastic tweezers that you
nice
use for
chisel
crafting.
and a hammer, and you just
For crafting.
Yeah.
So if you're like a dab hand at stuff like that, yes, then you can certainly do it yourself.
I've got butterfingers, so for me, like definitely a no. Like anything tiny, is just it's gonna go on the shutter instead of the prism or something like this.
Fair enough. So don't get Con to replace your foams for you, is what
No.
he's basically saying.
I can do a sense clean though.
Yes, you can, and which is a miracle considering that you have butterfingers. Russell just had to replace the foam seals on his RB67, which apparently has seals everywhere.
That's a chunky camera.
Yeah, it is.
I've got RZ, which is smaller and lighter, but still on the heavy side.
Yeah. And if you are not from the UK and you've got recommended places, as Charles just put down a place that's in Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, if you are from another part of the world and you have a recommended place for servicing things, you're always welcome to put them in the chat. This is an open community here. We like to hear your recommendations as well.
Yeah, sharing is caring, isn't it?
Exactly. Cupcake Bunny AG said, I feel like close-up, I love your handle, by the way. I feel like close-up or macro is so low yield that I always do it digitally instead of on film. And I know what you mean. I mean, what I tend to do if I'm going to shoot close-ups on film, I want to go for something that's not technically perfect. It's more aesthetic, a little bit more creative.
The feels.
I want the feels rather than the. If I'm doing it for the sake of
Doing it.
doing it for the sake of like scientific study, I was going to say, but not that I do much of that. But like I want to document something. Yes, digital makes much more sense. If I want it for the feeling of a nice, wildflower blowing in the wind or whatever, then I'm going to do it on film.
I have a title for next video we're going to do. It's called Becky is Documenting Flowers.
That's right.
It's 3 hours long.
Why not? Why not?
I cry in the background.
Yeah, and just constantly make jokes about it. Rob said, my Nikon F100 with the grip is so ergonomic and comfortable to hold. Yeah, I mean, I like this size of body, but I can understand that if you prefer having a grip.
Yeah, this is smaller and lighter.
Yeah.
That's the thing. F100 is a beautiful camera. I mean, I own two now, but this is just nice. I wouldn't call it pocketable, but it's definitely more portable than F100.
Yeah. Now, as for Roy said focus stacking film would be difficult. Yes, it would. Exactly.
Well, phase 6, one roll is one picture. Lots of scanning, hours and hours of scanning.
Hours of it. Okay, so this is my next choice. You know what this is? Regular viewers of the show who have watched since the very beginning will know that I'm a big lover of this lens. This is a 200 f4. This one is AIS. Mine's actually an AI. But the 200 f4 is the smallest 200. Look at that. It's very small. It's very light. This is pocketable. This is truly, I mean, you want to carry a 200 mil around with you and you don't want to carry one of the big guns, then this is the way to go. I absolutely love this lens.
I had one back in the day. I bought it about 10 years ago at Photographica, the one that is in Pimlico every year in May, for £40. Can you imagine that? That was before the prices went up on manual focus equipment. It is nice.
Yeah.
Not my lens though, but yeah.
Sure, but I love it for isolating details and things like that. Yeah. Studio Rene, he gets me 200 mil Becky. Smiley face. Charles also loves this one. John Hughes agrees, very nice lens. Honestly, it's one of my favorites. I don't use it that often anymore, but if I'm going out and I want sort of like a middle of the road lens, and then actually the one that I've been using more than this one recently is my 135 2.8, which I very nearly brought up. It's about this big and it's a 135. Beautiful.
I do prefer 135 over 200.
Yeah, but there's something quite nice about isolating particular details, and yeah, it's gorgeous. Anyway, so if you want something small and light in a 200 format, then that is my recommendation to you.
Yeah, it's a reasonably priced as well. I mean, it's not like a super expensive lens.
About £250. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. They're very, very reasonable. Steve agrees it's a great lens. So then I was just having a little look here. Charles said, had one that was very stiff to focus, but loved the shot so much I bought another one. Yeah, I mean, you can these days get that serviced as well if you need to. But when we're looking at manual focus lenses, we're obviously looking at the smoothness of focus. We're looking at the aperture clicks. We're making sure there's no dust, fungus, haze, no oil on the aperture blades.
No flies.
No flies in there.
We saw some.
And no scratches.
Yeah.
Andy said, what about the 105? The 105 is, the 105 2.5, I've talked about this lens many times, is by far one of the best lenses Nikon have ever made in the history of ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have one downstairs, but I didn't see it. And we have 105 1.8, which is a big chunky lens.
Yeah. So if you think about, like, on Pentax 6.7, they have this 105 2.4 lens, I think, Takumara or whatever that is.
Yes.
And they're supposed to, you just buy Pentax 6.7 just for this lens.
I have that lens.
So here you go. So you buy one of those cameras just for 105 2.5. That's how good it is and how much good feedback it has from Nikon community.
It's very true. And as Roy points out, all of these AIS lenses, most of them actually all had a 52mm front filter thread, which meant it was super easy to just buy one set of filters for all your lenses. You can't say that anymore, can you?
Yeah, look at current lenses now. Remember when the largest filter would be 77 size.
I remember, those were the days.
And now it's 82, 77, 95, 115, and it's all over the place. And each lens comes out, it's different threads. So I wonder why. Well, Nikon actually does make filters, so they should make like NDs and all sorts of other filters.
It would be useful, yeah, if they did make the ones that weren't just, because they do neutral color and then they do circular polarizers. But it would be nice if they did NDs and maybe a couple of other special effects ones. They also still make, I think, soft focus filters.
Yeah, I think we have a couple in stock.
Which is hilarious.
That dreamy look.
Yeah.
They call them Pro Mist nowadays, I guess.
That's right. So, but no, a Pro Mist filter, I think...
It's different. It's diffusion filter. Well, this one, yes. This one is like proper soap opera 80s.
It is. Portraiture. It's funny because Neth said old lenses are just always give me problems with newer bodies. I mean, with these lenses, there's nothing really to go wrong with them. You bung them on and you put in your non-CPU lens data, and away you go. And the camera knows what it's doing, and it's fairly straightforward. Obviously, with Z cameras, these also work with an FTZ adapter. You can put in your non-CPU lens data, but you're not going to get any aperture readout. You're just going to look and see, because what you see is what you get through the viewfinder. So I tend to use these on my Z6 via FTZ. No issues with that. I think now I've got quite a nice collection. Got a 28 2.8, a 51.2. I've got a, what else have I got? I've got the 135, the 200. I think that's it. I'm sure. Oh, and the 105 2.5.
I think I only have I got 35-1.4.
That's right.
And that's the only lens I use.
Wow.
I know, I got some scratched up 51.8s, like literally, like proper
scratch, like special effects lenses.
Exactly. I need to use that.
Cupcake Bunny says there's a Nickel 1001 Nights article on the soft focus filters. They do still make
great
them.
blog.
Yeah, we do have some if anyone's interested in getting that 80s look. Joy said, I recently purchased a pre-loved AFS 105 2.8 GVR, etc. from Grays, and it's amazing. It's the operator that needs some training on how to use it. It's okay, Joy. Take some practice. I can help.
Professionals, yeah.
No, I do love that 105 macro. Even the G is a good lens.
We had a talk yesterday, and we thought, why won't we record a macro course with Becky?
Yeah. If you'd be interested in that,
stay tuned.
We'll see.
One day.
We'll see, maybe. John said, I can see why they would be good on Z6 bodies, but what they like on the Z7, Z9s. Really great question, John. So I used mine. I've actually not put my manual focus lenses onto the Z7, but I used to use them regularly on the D850, which is the same resolution sensor. And although you are going to see more issues in terms of softness wide open, which is to be expected. Like if you shoot wide open, for example, on my 51.2, it's actually 55 1.2, it's very, very soft wide open. But as soon as you stop it down, even to 1.4, it improves massively. So you do see that on higher resolution sensors. You do see more chromatic aberration. You get quite a bit more fringing. Those are the main things. So you can see the errors a little bit more, but they do have certain character.
Exactly. You don't buy those lenses for optical performance. If you want to have optical performance and manual focus built in, get the native Z-weight lender glass, because those lenses are fantastic.
Yeah.
They can out-resolve whatever the 45 megapixel sensors. I'm sure they will out-resolve the 60-80 megapixel sensors that we're going to be released soon. The Nikon lenses, you buy them maybe for videography because you don't need it to have a sharp image that much. You can you can look through the softness, and actually gives you more cinematic look. But yeah, you definitely, if you go with Nikon lens, you may want to stop them down a little bit.
Yeah, John says it adds character. It does. I find that it definitely, having imperfect lenses, shall we say, definitely adds character. It's not always about the sharpness.
Yeah, I think what we look now in photography, I don't know, like myself, I don't really look at the ultimate sharpness as a kind of the major metric that I'm looking into. I mean, it is important, but I think the rendering and the color rendition and just, bokeh rendering is more important to me than the actual sharpness of the lens.
Yeah. Exactly that. It's funny, Cupcake Bunny said, I tend to do most of my super creative photography digitally on my Nikon digital bodies. That way I can make sure my effects are working. I love the look I get from Nikon's picture processing. So yeah, if you're feeling quite experimental and you don't want to maybe spend money on film developing, buying some of it, because you get those quirky films, right? Which are designed for that kind of like, oh, I want something a bit different. But sometimes it doesn't always hit hit
Yeah.
the spot in terms
what
of
you mean.
what you're looking for, and then you've spent a lot of money on film and a lot of money on developing. So by doing it digitally, it's free, and then you can have the freedom to play.
Well, you just pay more for equipment.
Yeah.
Outright.
Obviously, but if you've
Yeah.
already got the equipment, then you're okay. So Rafa said, I've been using the 3514 on a Z. Maybe it's a Z7 too. Z2 he said, and it looks great. I like the files that come out of the Z7 II very much, and I think you don't necessarily, as I say, need the sharpness all the time.
Yeah.
As Steve said, I use the AIS lenses for the look, bokeh rendering, not the sharpness.
Yeah. We kind of agreed with Becky that we're going to let our Z6s go and we will upgrade to at least Z7. So we
At some point, I'm not doing it now.
we agree that just, it's 24 megapixels.
I'm hankering
It's
after
not
more than
cutting it
24
anymore, I'm sorry.
megapixels. But I will probably do it way after you. Like,
Yeah.
you'll go first.
I'm here to stir the pot a little
Go
bit,
for it.
So I'm going to throw those opinions out just to keep the conversation going. But no, I'm just looking like you got those high-res screens, the MacBooks, Retinas and all this. And you click zoom on the image and it goes like 25% and it already tells you it's at 100%.
Yeah. That's all you've got.
That's disappointing.
You just have to make it
That's not
work.
good enough anymore. I'm sorry. 45 megapixel. Where it's at, I'm definitely looking at secondhand Z7 as we speak.
Someone's
Z8 has to come at some point in the future. Yeah.
Z7
For
III.
me.
Agile.
No, not Z7. Z8.
Agile River says, what would be a good F-mount manual focus lens for shooting the night sky? The 22.8 is actually really nice for that. Or if you need super wide angle, then the one that I like is actually the 18mm, but it's only f4.
Yeah.
There is a 3.5
You
version.
really don't want to get a really wide aperture if possible. So if you
Yeah.
can get to 1.4, 1.2, that would be amazing.
But yeah, I have reasons why that I would not always say that, because you're not going to shoot wide open with those lenses anyway.
No.
But the 22.8 is a really, really good one if you're looking for a wide angle. They just don't do super wide angle with smaller apertures, and then until you get into crazy money, like the 13mm and stuff like that. But for one that you can actually find at a reasonable price, I would say the 20. John has the Voigtlander 50 from us.
Yay!
Yay! But love the look of the older glass. I really like that 50 Apo. It produces really nice pictures, and 50mm isn't really a focal length that I like that much.
I have a post schedule on Sunday. Is that where we're releasing this video?
No, we're doing the small rig one next.
Okay, so I just have to readjust all my Instagram posts for the rest of it. But
It's okay.
this 50 Apple is the only 50 I would personally buy if I would have the cash for it,
Yeah.
out of all of them. And the reason for that not being that like the ultimate sharpest lens or et cetera, it's just for me, for what I want to do with it as a take out and take some photos, not using it professionally as much. It's got its rendering, it's got this magic 3D pop, micro contrast, whatever you call it, which is, in my opinion, feels very special, even compared to 51.8. And 51.2 is just not for me, the Z. It's too big.
I love it.
It's amazing. I mean, I
Love
have
it.
it right now, I'm testing it. It's amazing, but it's just, I know that realistically, I won't buy this lens for its size.
Yeah.
So 50 f2 for me would be the 50 I would buy currently for what I want to do with it. But again, if you need autofocus, there's not Apple can't do that. So you kind of need to come to it with expectation that it's a slower approach to photography, more like shooting film in a way,
Right.
than using it as like plug and play like 51.8 or 51.2.
Well, there you go. Ed got the Nikon P105 2.5 a few months ago. Yes, that's the one that I have actually, Ed. That's a pre-AI lens. Mine was converted. You might well have also had yours converted, but you don't need to use them on Z cameras. But the optics are perfect on that. Joy was asking earlier for protective filters. Nige made a recommendation there. I mean, the Hoya Pro 1 UV, etc., they're very good. The Nikon ones are obviously fantastic because they have same number of multi-coatings usually as the lens.
I'm a BMW guy myself.
You're a BMW guy. Well,
Yeah.
we don't sell those, so
I
it's
know.
not helpful.
We should, really.
We should. Simon says, I use the 135 2.8 AIS on my Z7 and it is fantastic. So
Indeed.
there you go. Bjorn says the AIS 180 f2.8 works great for Astro. It's interesting because most people think wide angle lens for Astro, but actually you're totally right. You can completely use telephoto. You just then end up with a very reduced shutter speed time, which makes things a bit difficult. But yeah, you can totally do that.
Yeah, we should get into astrophotography at some point, something I've never done before.
I will help you.
Yeah. We're going to shoot another course with Becky. The Astro
No,
course.
let's not do a course.
What sign are you? Gemini.
Yeah.
And you? That's how we're going to start our
That's how we're going to
astrophotography
start
course.
it.
Yeah.
Oh dear, we're like astrophotography and astrology.
Today is the 8th of July. The moon is in this phase.
And
the
Mercury is in retrograde or whatever. Okay, good. So there were. Please do give the stream a like if you can as well,
that
because
helps.
it helps the stream. It makes
Yeah.
the stream healthier,
Exactly.
in fact, and takes a second to do.
Exactly. And we want to become rich and famous at some point. Well, you know, whatever you prefer. I prefer rich more than famous, you know, but, you know, that helps. Everything
I don't
helps,
really want to be
know.
famous, if I'm completely honest.
No, just rich, really. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. John said, re-astro anything longer than 50mm really needs a tracker mount. It's difficult to shoot with long lenses for astro work.
Yeah, you
but
can buy those trackers nowadays.
You
It's
can.
like incredible things. So smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes things much easier. Andy mentioned something about 62.8 megapixel.
Well, I mentioned that 60, 80 megapixel sensors are coming, but I mean, when I said it, it's not like I know anything, but I assume that whatever the next high resolution camera will be would have 60 to 80 megapixel sensor. That's my assumption. You know, I have nothing else to share with you, not at this moment that I can share with you willingly.
No, or with any
Or know
knowledge,
anything.
knowledgeably.
Or not under NDA. No, I'm just messing with you guys. No,
Doesn't know anything.
I have no idea.
Don't listen to him. Thank you, Philip, for liking the stream, and thank you, Joy,
Thank you, Joy.
for your contribution to the Coffee Fund. So my last choice is actually, speaking of 20s.
Speaking of astrophotography.
Yeah, the 21.8G. This is the ideal astro / landscape / interior / architecture lens, and to be honest, I used to use it as my sort of go-to for weddings and events. I don't have a 14-24, don't really like the weight and size of the 14-24, so the 20 was my go-to. So a little bit wider than the 24 end of the 24-70 / 24-120, and it's got the lovely 1.8 aperture, and the closest focusing distance is actually only 20 centimeters. So
that's pretty good.
You can do some cool stuff with that. But yeah, that one I'm a big fan of. We've got a couple of these in stock at the moment, and although there is a Z version of it, from what I saw from Simon Stafford's reviews, the Z version is good. It's the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a very low distortion wide angle prime.
I was surprised. The first time I tried it, I was like, wow, that doesn't feel like 20 in terms of distortion. It's reasonably corrected.
Yeah.
John, I'm going to call my uncle for sure. You know, he works at Nikon and Nintendo at the same time.
He gets all the inside information.
So if you know where the next Switch coming out, let me know.
Yeah. John said, totally agree with the 21.8. It's a stunning astro lens. I mean, if you're going to somewhere like Iceland or the north of Norway or Sweden or anywhere where you're going to see any aurora borealis, then this is also a great choice. I'm supposed to be going to Sweden next year, hopefully, and and also north of Norway, and this is the lens that I want to take.
Are you going to go there during the whole 3 months night or 3 months day?
Hopefully somewhere between the two, where that you actually get a day and a night.
Because white nights are actually quite cool, because you can be at 4 o'clock in the morning and it looks like, well, it's twilight basically, you know. So, and then it just goes brighter.
Yes,
It's incredible.
oh, one of my very bestest friends is from Stockholm, and you know, they have that in a small amount, but it's like very, very little. When there's very little daylight, it's really depressing, and when there's very little night, it's quite.
I mean, it's in England
lively.
the same. I mean, like, we have loads of period of time where it's like just gets dark for from 4:30.
Yeah, it's sad.
And that's really sad.
It is sad. Charles said, what is that lens again? This is the 21.8G AFS. This is a fantastic F-mount lens. I have to say, a lot of the F-mount lenses, they perform seamlessly on the Z system as well. So if you are a Z person, and you don't necessarily want to spend the extra on the Z glass, then these are a very, very good option.
Yeah.
Nigel said, I bought the 21.8G especially for Astro, and the Northern Lights turned out great. Oh, like loads of people are agreeing with me, so that's good. I'm glad. Yay.
I'm looking forward to tell you what I think.
Yeah, exactly. Beyond says the 21.8 indeed go to Astro Landscaper. I love that. Like the terms squish together.
Could work in architecture as well.
Yeah, always in my mountain outfit.
I mean, it could be fun for street photography. You have to be a little bit closer to the people's faces.
You do
have a massive flash as well. So you go boom, and the person is blind, but you've got the shot.
That's all that counts. Yeah. Andy said I replaced my Zeiss 21mm with the AFS 21.8G. Yeah, it's a good lens.
Zeiss lenses are nice.
Jim said I love the 1755 2.8 DX on my Z50. Oh, that's an interesting one because that is, I mean, at retail that's over £1,000, but secondhand, they're a bargain, and that's a professional DX lens basically. That was the 24-70 equivalent for the DX lineup.
I owned it at some point when I had G200. It's beautiful lens. It's fantastic.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, at bargain prices right now.
And Yaman said I used the 20G, this one, recently in an expo with the D800E, and it was amazing to help me capture large spaces outside in the sun and inside low light pavilions. Yeah, because the beauty is that with a lens that wide, you can shoot wide open pretty much. You don't need to worry about depth of field because your subject's so far away. It's all in focus anyway. Shoot infinity, boom, away you go. So what do you have for us today?
Well, I don't know if I can raise the bar, but I can definitely
Should I have
show
gone
you.
second?
Well, let's start, since you've started with film camera. I have F6,
Yeah, so
which I showed you before.
yeah.
Now,
I
have F100, and F100 I would say would be my first choice, but we are out of stock on that one.
Yeah.
And F100 is the camera, film camera that allows you to have autofocus and use wide range of autofocus lenses, not the E-type, but AFS will work with it. And you get autofocus, it's well built, it's nice and light, reasonably light for this type of the camera. So for reportage, street photography, it's amazing. Now, again, if you got cash, burn in your pocket, then you got F6, and that's the ultimate 35mm SLR.
We've all got cash burning a hole in our pockets.
Obviously, because there's no recession. Let's just spend money. 12 months interest free. That's where it's at. No, I'm not. That's not a financial advice.
Not a financial advice, but yes, it is more expensive than the F100. Yeah. But I would say because I didn't have the F100.
Becky has F6.
But I have the F6.
I have F100.
I bought one at an absolute bargain. Mine has a slight fault, but it's okay. But there are some things that I love about the F6. The metering system is like nothing else. In terms of film cameras, film autofocus cameras.
It's got all the 3D matrix, 3500 CAM sensor.
It's the meter from the D2X.
Yeah.
So it's just brilliant. And obviously it works with all your G-type lenses as well as your Ds and AI and AIS. The only thing I wish that they'd done is made it able to use pre-AI lenses.
That would be nice.
Because it doesn't have the little metal, aperture indexing coupling lever there. It's plastic, so unfortunately if you mount pre-AI lenses you can damage the camera. That would have been nice because you could then just use stop-down metering.
And maybe E-lenses, the latest top quality E-lenses like 105-1.4E or 28-1.4E.
Or 24-70 2.8E.
Because if you can afford this, you can afford one of those. You want to use the best. And in terms of this is probably the ultimate 35mm film camera from Nikon.
Yeah.
It's also now have a collector's value as well, so it's something that you may cherish and use, but also may eventually sell for a nice profit. Who knows?
Potentially. Charles said the only other Nikon film camera I have is the F4. Maybe once I get the Z9 and a couple of Z lenses, I'll look at some old F5 and F6 bodies. The F5 is big. It's basically, it's not as advanced as the F6, but it was the camera that came before. It has that big, chunky built-in grip. If you don't mind the additional weight of 8 AA batteries, then you can do some serious damage with an F5.
But for me, at this weight and size, I can just use my RZ67 or your Pentax 67, you know. So it's kind of become so big and heavy that you feel like, like at the moment, I look at 35mm as a small and portable. So something like, let's say, F5 is a little bit on the heavy side, but obviously a lot of people consider F5 to be the ultimate film camera from Nikon. So because it's got interchangeable prisms, etc., etc. The build quality is fantastic, but F6 is more portable, I would say. Obviously, something like this is even more portable, so you can have a nice small prime, and you can take the camera just, you know, kind of as a nice walkabout camera with you.
Yeah. Now, Albert says the F6 can be converted to use non-AI lenses by Nikon services. You know, I read that somewhere, Albert, and I wasn't sure if that was true. I will actually find out if they can do that, because that is that's really useful to have that feature, and it is just a matter of changing the ring around the bayonet basically to a metal one that you can then shift out of the way when you mount pre-eye lenses. Jonathan, our opinion on the F5, as Con was saying, it's big and heavy, but it's like, you know, it's not going to take worse or better pictures, because ultimately it's the lens and the film stock that you put in. It's a beautiful camera.
Probably a lot of people would say that F5 is the ultimate film camera, but for me personally, I consider F6 to be better.
Yeah, I just prefer the size of the F6 to the F5.
Exactly.
Graham said, I moved from the F100 to the F6 last year. I love the build and handling of the F6 so much. Metering is faultless. Agree with you, Graham. The metering really is faultless on the F6. And also, yes, it's a bit heavier than the F100, but I think that comes with so many other benefits.
But F100 is so underrated.
It is underrated.
And so reasonably priced nowadays, that for a lot of people, it will make sense to get F100 to kind of scratch that itch of film photography over F6. Because for F6, you kind of need to be 100% sure that you're going to spend so much money on the camera. I mean, it's obviously worth it. But for people who just starting out, I would recommend F100 wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Now, Alif asks if we would get a used D700 or a DF. Both those cameras we are big fans of. In fact, we were almost going to do the D700 homage today, but we didn't. We don't actually have any in the shop. So the DF we did do a whole live stream on, and big fan of that camera. Neither camera has video functionality. Roy said the DF doesn't have video. Well, neither of them do, but they are both superb cameras for stills, and definitely worth. If you can pick a decent one up secondhand, definitely worth it.
Yeah.
And Charles said just a quick look, and it looks like the F6 holds its value better than the F5.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. The F6 was only discontinued within the last, 24 months? In the last 2 years?
Yeah, something like 2 to 3 years.
So it was still fairly new and recent. Jonathan asked how you handle the sticky rubber problem with F100. We have a whole stream, actually, where a whole bunch of people put what they'd done to fix the sticky back issue.
Yeah, I think people discussed it at the beginning, early in the chart today. So if you have a look, I think it's IPA, the isopropyl
alcohol.
Alcohol, yeah, not the India Pale Ale.
Don't put beer on it. But yes, it is to a certain degree fixable. And
then let it air. Just leave it somewhere in open space for like a week, and it's kind of, you need to air it out. Exactly.
Not outside. Don't put it out in the rain.
No.
And Small Brown Fox says, I covet my 85 1.4D, but now I no longer have my D850. I need something to use it on. Well, it'll work on an F6. It'll work on an FM2.
Thanks to the aperturing that is on the lens.
Yeah. Len, if you have a D700 for sale, you can always drop an email to our once email address on the website. You know, we may be able to offer you something for it, unless you want to keep it.
30 seconds delay.
Yes, it is a 30-second delay. Okay, so, and thank you, Albert, for also saying that Nikon in the Netherlands had the kits to convert the F6, which is great. And as you say, Albert, the F4 can do both. It does have that metal coupling prong. It's not the word that I'm
rabbit
looking
ears?
for anyway. It's not rabbit ears.
No.
It's not.
It's
a little.
prong, yeah.
It's a coupling prong. That little metal bit. What's next on your list?
Let me find it. So, 28 1.4 lens.
Love that lens.
It is the ultimate 28 from Nikon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just There's no arguments about this.
It is, yeah. In terms of image quality, it is the best 28 out there, full stop.
Nikon has to do a really, really good job to beat that with the Z version.
Yeah, and there isn't one at the moment. Obviously, you've got the little 28 2.8, which is the wee pancake lens.
Yeah, not the same.
Muffin lens, as we call it. But this is something else. This produces that kind of je ne sais quoi. And the 28 1.4E, the 58 1.4G, the 105 1.4E. Those three lenses, I would say, have something so unique and special about them.
Well, this is a new generation of lenses. So remember we talked about that those lenses being designed basically on a computer, and the software emulated the performance of the lens. That will allow them to cut down the cost on how many samples, physical samples they have to create, because they could basically emulate performance in the software. So and they can do a better job by doing this as well. So these three lenses are parts of this. I think 300 f4E is a new generation of lens.
Yeah. So if you can pick one up at a good price, then highly recommend that one. Alif said they have a D700 body with about 2,000 shots on it for £380 in Malaysia. I think I should get it. Not financial advice, but that's a great price.
It's a bargain, yeah.
It's a fantastic price. Albert said, I wait for the 28 f1.2. Could you imagine if they did a Z 1.2? So we get
triple the size of this.
Yeah, but they do a 51.2 Z, and then they do a 28 1.2, and they do an 85 1.2. It'd be so cool.
You know, I'm not sure now about 85 1.2, because if it's going to be the size of 51.2...
It's going to be too big for you?
It's too big. It's
51 too.
8514G is perfect size-wise.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be anything bigger than that.
Right.
So 1.2, if it's the size of 51.2, I don't think it's going to be my top choice. I probably will still buy it because I'm not really a fan of 1.8 Z lens.
Yeah.
I really hope that they will release 1.4 at some point.
Yeah.
Obviously, hypothetically, because we don't know what it's going to be size-wise.
Of course. Thank you so much to Randall for your contribution to the Coffee Fund, who's going classic ZFC Z30. So I guess, Randall, did you pre-order a Z30? If so, very exciting. Interested to see how you find that. With the Z28mm f2.8. I do like that little pancake lens. Obviously, it's a different kettle of fish altogether.
Yes.
But it's a nice lens. The 40 I like even more, actually. The pancake muffin.
A lot of people ask us to compare with 51.8, the 40mm pancake.
Really?
Yeah, maybe we should do that. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Why not? And what's is that? No, you have one more thing on offer.
Oh, yes.
on
yes.
offer.
Well, for us Z system enthusiasts, I know there are literally 2-3 people like me, you know.
Like
so
one person, Randall.
Exactly. So no one else uses Z system nowadays. But I've got 14-24 to show you, because this is actually an ultimate wide-angle lens. And I know people say 14-30 is as good. It is not, but it's almost there.
It's very decent.
And again, I'm going for the top picks here. You see what I mean? F6, 28 1.4E, 14-24. They are the best lenses in their own classes, I would say. You know. So in terms of this, if you want an ultra-wide-angle lens for commercial work, now I have 24-70 2.8.
Yeah.
Incredible lens. I'm in line for this one. I'm just saving up at the moment, all money tied up in Z8 purchase, you know. So, but this is one of those lenses that I will be personally acquiring before 70-200 2.8. I think 70-200 2.8 will be the last of that trinity for me.
Although we do have one in secondhand, believe it or not. So if you're looking for some Z lens bargains, we've actually got quite a few. We've got the wonderful 24-200 in secondhand as well.
That's a perfect summer lens.
It is. Small Brown Fox said, you say that, Con, but you'll fold like a deck of cards when the 85 1.2 drops.
I know.
I believe it.
I have weak knees.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's easy to sway me.
Yeah, absolutely. Vinod Raj, who said, should we buy a Sony A7, I think that's a 3.2 in 2022? Can't comment on Sony cameras, unfortunately, because I mean, my answer would be no, but
yeah,
but that's because we're a Nikon only store, so I can't really help you beyond that.
Can advise you on PlayStation though.
Yeah, exactly. George said the 17-55 been using on the Z50 with the adapter. It was glued to my D500 for years, but has been very impressive with the Z50. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, obviously the DX sensors are not so high resolution that if there were any kind of, let's say, artifacts or problems with resolving.
Yes, but
you know, there's not the sensor's not going to push the lens too hard.
you know, like we complained half an hour ago saying that 24 megapixels is too low.
Yeah.
Yes, but that system, DX system, they're all 20 megapixel sensors.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not high resolution, but there's something about that sensor that I found when we were testing the Voigtlander lenses, the 35 and 23 mil, that I really like.
Very pleasing.
The rendering of it. The files that come out of these 20 megapixel sensors, you know, on all three cameras, they're amazing. I'm surprised. Maybe you don't get much resolution, but there's something about it. I wouldn't call it filmic, but there's something there that they're easy to work with. They're very easy to color grade. So in terms of this, I would say, if you want to see a sample of that, check out my Instagram and yours as well.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to post some of my Voigtlander results fairly soon. Charles, we do ship to the USA. We ship worldwide, basically. I think there's probably like 1 or 2 countries that we can't ship to, or we can, but it's quite expensive to ship to, but we do ship to the USA, absolutely. Someone else was also asking earlier if we get any enlarger lenses. We don't. In fact, I think the last time we were both asked for an enlarger lens and were maybe offered one was well over 10 years ago.
But you know, I'm thinking about going into large format at some point this year. So Nikon made some of those.
They did.
Or you can adapt those lenses in larger lenses as well.
That's right.
So I think I
meant large format, and I said enlarger because someone else asked about enlargers, but it was 2 different things, 2 different thought processes at the same time.
And also Nikon made a lens for a Plaubel camera, Plaubel Machina, I think, for medium format camera as well. That's got 80mm Nikon lens on it as well.
So we don't get those in, but you can find them out there.
It's a shame because I would purchase one.
I know you would. David said, off topic, any news on Sigma Z-Fit lenses? I mean, not entirely off topic, but no is the short answer to that. We really, really hope that they will do something. If anyone from Nikon is listening, please give Sigma the license. Yeah, exactly, so that they can produce even more lenses for that system. Hello to Kevin from Louisiana. Thanks for joining us. We are almost wrapping up here, but I just wanted to read some of these final comments before we did. I think Albert and Roy are having a back and forth about the 50 and the 85 1.2s and stuff. I mean, I hope that that's what's next, but we're talking about things that already exist today.
Yes, while we're going to read that, so let's give it 5 minutes before we close. What I want to ask is, for next several weeks, I'm going to do live streams by myself and maybe with special guests.
Maybe.
So if you have any ideas, any suggestions, what shall we do together? Do put your suggestions in the comments in the chat and the comments below under this video, because I will read them and maybe even consider them. I always consider everything. So
no idea is a bad idea.
Exactly. Just throw everything in. Let's talk medium format. Let's talk. What else can we talk about? Some Nikon glass, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Should talk about some
Z lenses.
Nikon equipment. I think that would be a good idea.
Whole live stream on Z8.
Why not?
We can speculate.
Mike said my Z50 and kit lens are pretty amazing. Geek Lab says we can expect the Sigma/Tamron lenses late 23 at the earliest, more likely 2024 if nothing changes.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, exactly. We hope sooner, but I can understand why you might say that. And we didn't mention Zeiss lenses, but obviously
we don't have much experience.
We don't have much experience with them. We don't stock them ourselves. Those are obviously a series of manual lenses that you can buy, which if you want a very heavy, I will say they're very heavy, solidly built manual lenses, then those are something you can have a look at. But if you want small and lightweight F-mount glass, then the AI and AIS lenses are the way to go.
Becky, the great local is asking, is 51.2 AIS worth it?
It's lovely. It gives you this very kind of dreamy look when you shoot wide open, and then when you stop down, the bokeh is spectacular. I can't replicate it in any other lens anywhere.
Yeah, that's why you own it yourself.
That's right. So if you want that kind of special lens, I like lenses which have a very specific character and kind of color reproduction, and that's one of those lenses that does that for sure.
True.
Kevin, are we going to the Open, the Golf Open? We are Not because I'm not here.
Yes.
But
Becky
next
went
year.
there last year.
I did. I will go next year, but not this year because I will be away. C'est la vie. Right. I actually wanted to pick a winner from my poster competition a few weeks ago. Obviously, I did my live stream without you, and then the next week we did Chelsea Physic Garden,
Yes.
and then last week we were
Remote.
separated.
Yes.
So finally I've had a chance to do this random comment picker. I can share my screen, but I don't know if I want to. But anyway, I've picked the name, and the winner was Len Oshman.
Congratulations, Len.
Congratulations, Len.
Congratulations.
Your comment was picked at random from our live stream a few weeks ago. You have won yourself the lovely Nikon 100th anniversary poster, which is inside this tube,
Ooh, that's
which I won't
nice.
get out because I won't be able to put it back in again. So please do drop your address details over to media@grayswestminster.co.uk, and we'll get that sent out to you ASAP. Yes, Paul, I am going on holiday.
Enough.
Enough is enough.
That's it. So I'm here.
You're here. Just come support Con.
Exactly.
I'll watch remotely.
But definitely do send me some suggestions. Let's see what we can talk about together.
Exactly. Okay, good. And thank you very much for watching and bearing with us today while we went through our various technical difficulties. Hope you all have a wonderful sunny weekend.
If you're in UK, brace yourself for a heat wave.
Yes. And Con, we'll see you next week for another live stream.
Just me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.